In this video, we shall look at de Broglie wavelength and how it associates with wave-particle duality. We know that light, along with its wave nature, has properties resembling those of particles. These are quanta of light, which is also known as photons. The energy carried by a photon is given by the following expression. H is the Planck's constant and F is the frequency of that light. And of course we can express this energy in terms of wavelength in a following manner. And slightly rearranging the terms, you get that. The term in the bracket is known as the momentum of that photon, because energy of a photon can be expressed in terms of momentum in a following manner, where the c is the speed of light. So this is essentially the particle picture of light wave. The particle property of light is given by this momentum and energy, and this is linked to the wave property of light, which is given by the wavelength and the frequency. To this end, we bring your attention to the fact that photons are massless, so there is no mass associated with a photon. This particle property of light is instrumental in explaining the photoelectric effect, as we have seen in previous videos. It is the particle-particle interaction between the photon and electron within the surface of the metal and the transfer of energy from the photon to the electron that explains why an electron can escape from the surface of the metal. A wave picture of light will not be able to explain this effect. So in order to explain such a process, among others, it's important to invoke the particle property of light. This has led de Broglie to extend the idea to particles. The reasoning goes as follows. Light is dualistic in nature, behaving in some situations like waves and in others like particles. So if nature is symmetric, then this duality should also hold for particles. Electrons and protons, for example, which we usually think of as particles, may in some situations behave like waves. So that is the central idea of de Broglie hypothesis. So let's see how this works. Since we have seen that momentum can be expressed in terms of wavelength like that, and since momentum for particles with mass is given by m times velocity, then we can write an expression for wavelength of a particle in a following manner. This is called the de Broglie wavelength of a particle with mass m. The frequency f, according to de Broglie, is also related to the particle's energy E in the same way as for photon, like that. Thus, the relation of wavelength to momentum and the relation of frequency to energy in de Broglie's hypothesis are exactly the same for particles such as electrons as for photons. So what is the significance of behavior of a particle as wave? Assume we have a single-slit diffraction experiment, but instead of shooting a beam of light towards the single slit, we shoot a bunch of electrons towards that slit, like that. What would you see on a screen placed over there? It turns out that the result of this experiment recorded on the screen yields a diffraction pattern whose intensity look something like this, which seems to be identical to the pattern produced in the single-slit diffraction experiment for light. This experiment gives us a direct evidence of the wave nature of electrons. So now the question is, if we can calculate a wavelength for a moving electron, provided that we know the mass of the electron and the speed of the electron, can we do the same for a larger object, say a ball, if we know the mass of the ball and the speed of the ball? The answer is, of course, yes. So let's see how that works by doing this problem. Find the de Broglie wavelength for an electron moving at that speed, and compare this to that of a ball whose mass is 0.1 kg moving at 50 meters per second. So let's do for the electron. So you have this electron moving with a speed of 1.2 times 10 to the power 7 meters per second. We know the mass of the electron is about 9.11 times 10 to the power minus 31 kg. So to determine the de Broglie wavelength, all we have to do is to take the Planck's constant and divide that by the product of m times v. The Planck's constant is 6.626 times 10 to the power minus 34 joules second. The mass is 9.11 times 10 to the power minus 31 kg, and the speed is 1.2 times 10 to the power 7 meter per second, and the answer will turn out to be in meter. And you get about 6.1 times 10 to the power minus 11 meter, a small number. Now let's repeat this for that ball. The mass is 0.1 kg, and it is moving with a speed of 50 meters per second. So the wavelength of the ball turns out to be 6.626 times 10 to the power minus 34 joule seconds. The mass is 0.1 kg, speed is 50 meters per second, which will be about 1.3 times 10 to the power minus 34 meter, which is a much smaller number than that of an electron's wavelength. So while in principle one can calculate the wavelength for such an object, the detection of such a wavelength will be very difficult due to the smallness of the magnitude. The wavelength of electron, on the other hand, while still a relatively small number, say compared to wavelength of visible light, exhibits a more pronounced picture of wave-like property of electrons. Thank you for watching.